name is Christina.
Hello everybody. So as Christina said, we will talk in this webinar about the analytics market. And here is the agenda of this session together. First, we'll talk about the relevance of the analytics topic as we could determine through two surveys. I will talk a little bit later about these two surveys. Then we'll talk about the relevance of the analytics technologies. Then we'll have a look on the market figures and the outlook until 2020. And we'll discuss a few takeaways at the end of this session, and I hope it will be interesting for you. So as Christina said, I'm based in Paris. Some of you may have guessed because of my accent, of course. And I'm part of a team of more than 30 analysts and consultants throughout the three brands of the CXP Group, so CXP, BARC and PAC, working on specifically on data management and analytics topic. So as Christina said, here you have a screenshot and in the tool you can ask your question, and I will try. I will do my best to answer this at the end of the session. Again, Christina already said the session is recorded and you will have the slides afterwards. So a few words about the two surveys that we published this year, two surveys from PAC and BARC. First, the PAC survey is the CXP investment survey. We have interviewed around 3,000 decision makers in user companies all over the world to get their views on current IT trends, key requirements, investment plans, etc. And the key results related to the topic of analytics are presented and discussed in this report. There will be also figures from the BI Trend Monitor, which also interrogated nearly 3,000 people around the world, and respondents come from a wide range of industries, countries, professional backgrounds, company types and sizes. So you may find some slight differences between the two surveys, but I would say that altogether it gives a pretty accurate picture of how companies rate the analytics topic and the associated technologies. And of course, the market figures are from our CXP market research program. And all of this, the surveys and the market figures, can be accessed on our CXP website. If you subscribe to our research, and I encourage you on this slide. I was saying that analytics is a hot topic, especially for large companies. And it's true that 58% rate it as important or very important. And actually, we've got the same results with the spending intentions. However, we believe that the issues are the same for any size company, but larger companies are more likely to allocate resources and buy costly dedicated systems, such as platforms and appliances. And furthermore, as mid-market companies tend to come in various forms and shapes, it makes addressing this market more difficult. However, the segment, in our view, is the main economic driver in many countries. So we believe it cannot be ignored because small and mid-sized companies' interest in big data is growing, and their decision paths are shorter and faster, which constitutes an advantage in terms of business. So if you look at it with another view regarding the geographies, you'll see that Europe is less dynamic than the rest of the markets. But yeah, regarding to the importance of this topic, the IT spending intentions vary from a high level in the Asia Pacific and the Americas to a fairly high level in Eastern Europe. That's true. However, the diagram also shows that there's a great interest in big data in every region, and even in Europe, where the market is growing, but just a little bit less rapidly. And the ranking of Southern Europe and Central Europe may be explained by the fact that these regions are facing economic challenges that have set the IT market under pressure, and along with it, the market for big data. And as I was saying, however, we'll see that later on growth rates are very, very high. The good news is that big data is already here. You can see here that 1/3 of the companies have already realized big data related projects, and half are doing some projects. It may be the same respondents, or they may have given multiple answers, and usually what we see is that when they have a first successful project, they do many others afterwards. So many IT services companies I talk to and that are not convinced tell me, well, big data is very narrow for now, my projects are very small. What I tell them is that, yes, it may be small at first, at the beginning, but it can be very, very huge afterwards, and it is also a platform for digital innovations later on. So when we ask what are the main drivers and benefits behind these projects, we have a lot of different use cases behind, but there's, I would say, a few common things. Efforts are primarily focused on delivering a better customer experience, on supporting product and services innovation, and on optimizing business processes. These drivers come in every industry. Really, that's what we feel and what we hear from the customers. And also, thanks to less expensive data storage solutions, such as Hadoop, companies can collect raw data from multiple sources, and as the market matures, they want to benefit from this surplus data. Predictive analytics are much more efficient and affordable today than 2 years ago, and as competency around it emerges, we believe that this technology will be the next step in the big data market. In fact, actually, to secure business, companies will invest more in solutions to predict trends and behavior patterns, combining them with machine learning technology and sometimes real-time tools. And by the way, as we're talking about real-time, we think that real-time analytics is a very hot topic as well. We see it on the market and in surveys, as companies can now perform analytics both on data at rest and data in motion. That's a trend we see more and more in financial services, for fraud prevention, for instance, in manufacturing, for predictive maintenance, or in cybersecurity, and of course in many IoT-related use cases. Now, if you look at these results split by industries, you can see that it's pretty relevant for all the industry. And what's very important here, in our view, is that at first, industries which had, I would say, data volume issues were very interested in big data. Now it's spread across all the industries because, as I said, it's really a platform for digital transformation and digital innovations. So interest in big data and analytics was already a huge thing in sectors such as financial services, telecommunications, and manufacturing, and it's really growing in every sector, and most industries have projects in development. This is especially true for the retail and wholesale and energy sectors, where IoT creates new opportunities. For instance, utilities have been deploying smart meters in ever-growing numbers. With the promises of operational efficiency, possibility of deploying innovative programs that allow customers to better control their electricity usage, for instance. And in addition, this industry can apply analytics for greater insights into logistics and supply chain, as well as marketing and trading, to better manage operation end-to-end from the demand side to to commercial channels. As for the retailers, not only are they using data to predict trends and prepare for demand, they're also eventually able to use real-time analytics to provide more personalized, tailored experiences to their customers across channels, whether in-store or online. An example of online is the mobile app, of course, and you can have the same experience in store with geofencing by providing customized services to people in store on their smartphone. And all through the public sector is last on the list. There is a huge market for big data and analytics in public organization in response to the development of smart cities, and at least a growing attention to economic performance and to citizen relationship and satisfaction as well. Increased focus on quality care also and reduced costs are also propelling the growth of big data in the medical markets. Despite financial and regulatory constraints, there is an increasing interest in predictive analytics accentuated by the development of biometric sensors connected to various applications. So there are a lot of interest also in this sector. Now, our main findings from the, I would say, the technology side, a global here you can see, I would say, a global overview of how users rate the importance of the various trends and technologies. So you can see that we could regroup a few items at the top of this diagram under the label Self-Service BI. And Self-Service BI has been on organizations' wish list for a long time. Of course, as IT departments struggle to satisfy, I would say, constantly growing demand from end users for faster changes and new developments to meet the BI needs. They can't go through the B cycle anymore. So of course, enabling the business user community through Self-Service BI is a very good idea. And behind that, you have the data discovery, data visualization, predictive analytics. These are among the typical functions users want to consume in a self-service mode. And you could also add to this a few user-oriented features such as mobility and collaboration. However, what we can also see from this diagram is that an agreed data and tool governance framework is paramount to avoid losing control over data. And users, in our view, recognize the need for data quality and master data management, and in our experience, initiatives in this area are often announced with fund for before quickly moving down the list of priorities for a variety of reasons. But at least organizations seem to be aware that the coolest looking dashboard is worth nothing if the data shown is all wrong. Hence, in our view, the necessity of these two trends to go along. Now, if we focus on a few of these trends, you can see that data discovery and visualization trend was at the top of the priorities. And so it's very, very important, especially for business users. And of course, there are multiple reasons for this. With the large amount and variety of data available today, the table-based visualizations with increasing numbers of data rows were less suitable. It became more difficult for users to digest the most relevant information at a glance. And second reason, nowadays, everyone can be a decision maker. Analytics are pervasive in the company. All the collaborators can have access to data and make decisions. So consumers of data are not only specialists anymore. They can be in all departments of a company, even on the shop floor. So this trend is very important for both these reasons. And interactive and new visualization tools enable the decision makers to see within an instant major trends, and they can also spot outliers. So some graphics such as scatter plots, tree maps, network diagrams are really better suited to displaying large amounts of information for these users. Furthermore, there's a push for greater simplification and visually appealing interaction and navigation in data. Data visualization and visual analysis specialists were the first to provide highly graphic yet relatively simple interfaces to help business users dig deep into data. But many other vendors, and especially large BI vendors, have followed the lead and are now investing in user interfaces and providing new or re-engineered clients and provide, I would say, more appealing front ends. So that's a deep trend in the industry, followed by everyone, and there are many new vendors around here. And it's also a way to talk directly to business users. So it's very important in many industries that can be, I would say, a door to open new projects. Now you can see the importance of master data and data quality management, and as we said earlier, the reason for the high relevance of this topic is simple. People can only make the right decisions based on accurate data. And you can see that through their aggregation mechanism, BI reports and analysis can help reveal data quality issues as well. So operational and decision-making processes also profit from high data quality. So what we would say about this, that master data management is paramount to ensure data quality and governance. The goal is really to compile and exchange master data such as customer, supplier, or product master data across multiple systems. That can be aside from a, I would say, master ERP system, because you have data in CRM, in SCM, in web services, through APIs, etc. And the companies need to merge systems and to have a central governance on the data. Unfortunately, I would say we don't expect large-scale MDM projects anymore. You know, these large-scale MDM projects were doomed from the beginning most of the time. Now there are proven concepts for successfully increasing data quality and implementing master data management. One example is a data quality cycle, which many software vendors have implemented in their tools. So we don't talk about the same kind of master data management we talked a few years ago. Now we're talking about data quality cycle, so users don't have to be afraid about it, and I think that this is really a great opportunity for the IT services vendors. Now finally, the self-service BI trend itself, and as we were saying, the major challenge is to reconcile the self-service aspiration and governance. Self-service is still a high priority. The demand is really still growing from the business users for ad hoc reporting, analysis, extensibility. And the demand for data to be available anytime, anywhere, on any device is putting pressure on IT and BI organization, of course. As a result, there is a growing trend among enterprises to enable power users to build or design their own reports, data model, interfaces, or queries. Power users may even build their own front ends, combining multiple data sources through highly configurable portals. So many software vendors, as you know, were and are still successful thanks to this approach of letting the users be more, well, to get more autonomy. And this is, of course, a challenge for internal IT as they have got less control on users' behavior, so they must implement a new data architecture, ensuring in the same time that users can perform their own analysis, for instance, by exposing data through APIs, while the Chief Data Officer can perform all the governance tasks required. So this is a challenge, and this is a challenge that end-user companies can tackle by themselves. They really need guidance from the IT services vendors. Now, I propose you to have a look on the market figures in Outlook. So first, let me say that analytics is one of the fastest growing markets today. And it is especially true if you focus on big data. As you can see here, the market volume will be multiplied by 4 in 4 years. That's huge. You've got a compound annual growth rate which is very high, 36% for software, 44% for IT services. And especially as IT services vendors are encapsulating open source assets and developing their own IP to propose frameworks they can use as a basis for their big data related services. In this configuration, even though there are some revenue attached to the software, the global amount of services delivered grows, and the firms can focus on higher value services. The ultimate goal being to accompany the customer in its digital transformation by leveraging its data. So this is true really all over the world. The companies are asking their providers to help them to go quicker. They don't really care about which flavor of Hadoop or else you will use. What they care about is the outcome, and at the end of the day, if you provide a framework to help them go faster and focus on the outcome, so they like this approach. Now, if you look at the technologies themselves, you can see that analytical databases and advanced analysis tools outperform the worldwide market. If you look at the market as a whole, there's really a clear shift from traditional BI, such as reporting and data warehouse, to the new kind of analytics we discussed earlier. Here on this slide, you can compare 2015 and our projections for 2019. But if you go back to a few years, it's really clear that analytical DBs are growing at a very fast pace. Compared to data warehouse, which impose to define a data schema first, analytical databases give the users much more freedom to define what they want to learn from the data after they've gathered the data in it. And also some analytical databases come with specific features traditional tools can't match. For instance, the graph-oriented databases, which are paramount in certain kinds of analysis. And the rise of advanced analysis tools is also worth a few words, as it reflects the growth of self-service, data visualization, discovery, and analysis tools we talked about earlier. It's within that segment which are targeting the business users at every level of the end-user companies that there is a growth that you can accompany. And by the way, this is a graph related to the worldwide market, but if you focus on mature markets such as France, UK, or Germany, the shift I talked about is even clearer. And as a matter of fact, traditional analytics markets in these countries are declining. Now, if we focus on Western Europe, you can see that big data is rising also. I was saying a few minutes ago that despite Asia Pacific and Americas have grown faster than the European market, you can see that Western Europe market is also growing, and it's growing rapidly. It will be also, I would say, nearly multiplied by 4 in 4 years. And regarding the split of services, the fastest growing segments should be related to the hosting and support of big data solutions and to the consulting and implementation. And indeed, the consulting is really needed, whether it is to define the data architecture or to imagine the right algorithm. And as a matter of fact, we note some consolidation going on in the market, as well as the emergence of pure data science players who have no trouble working with the largest companies, which is usually not that easy. But really, the end-user companies are in desperate need of rare resources, such as data architects and data scientists. I could hear this morning, the CIO of a big French company was saying that the resource is really rare on the market, and the profile are highly paid, and even with, I would say, a lot of money, they can't find the resources in need. Now, if you focus even more on Western Europe, you can see that the big data market is very dynamic, even in France. Even through the French market is a bit smaller than the other ones. But France, Germany, and United Kingdom are big markets for big data. Altogether, they account for 2/3 of the market. And they're all growing at a fast pace. But I would say that as the BI was a very mature market in these countries, the takeoff took a bit longer in these countries. As you know, we are more conservative in Western Europe than our American friends. But as we said earlier, now that companies of all sizes have acknowledged the essential role of the data in their day-to-day operations, as well as in the design of new services and an enhanced customer experience, they're eager to explore what they can do with the data. And I would say it depends on you to help them see what they can do with all the data they've got. So we are at the end of this presentation. I would like to talk a bit about the major trends and major opportunities in this market for you. So first of all, the analytics, as I said, is becoming pervasive in all applications for all employees. I'm sure you've still heard, you have all heard, sorry, about AI, about cognitive platforms. AI are developed by software vendors as well as by IT services vendors, and I would say included in platforms or in applications to help consumers and users to do data-based decisions. So it's really becoming pervasive. It allows companies to launch new services and to add value to their services. So analytics now is recognized as a powerful enabler of digital transformation. So as long as you don't talk about analytics per se, but you talk as what you can do, what are the use cases you can do by leveraging the data, there are great opportunities to I would say, to optimize performance of companies and to launch new services or maybe new business models based on this data. The companies and CIOs and CDOs I can talk to, they have all heard examples of what some companies are doing with the data, and they all know that they can do the same. They have huge amounts of data, and most of the time they don't know which way to go, you know, and they ask us, how should I begin my journey with analytics? I'm sure I can do much with my data, but I don't know how to start. And also, as I said, they are looking for resources such as data architect, and data scientists, people that can help them to define the right architecture, to define the right governance, and to apply and refine the right algorithm to provide these new kinds of services. And these are demands from both the end user and data consumer side, business users, as well as from the IT users. There are now more and more acting like teams. A CIO told me this morning that their IT team had their look on the internal IT at first, and now they are looking at IT from an external viewpoint. They see it as, or they see themselves as business partners for the business users. So there is really a shift going on. They want to partner on this, and we see more and more examples where the data architecture defined by the CIO office serves the business users to give them more autonomy, and business users can develop new services based on the data provided to them by the IT departments. But most of the time they can't do it by themselves, and they really need your help to help them implement such a thing. So I hope you have learned a few things from these sessions, and now I'm open for questions.
So thank you very much, Olivier, for this really interesting webinar. If anyone wants to ask their questions in addition, you're able to write us, to contact us. Yeah, and as follow-up, you will all be able to download the slide set for this webinar on the landing page of the webinar, and you will receive.
There are more questions. I'll try to answer this afterwards, maybe in a blog post. I encourage you to go to our website and have a look and, on the blog post, and all the as I said, you can go on citsi.com and see all the publications, including reports, market figures, and blog posts. And of course, as Christina said, you will have the slides. Christina, do you want to add a few words?
Well, I think you did summarize it very well. Yeah. Then I think I'd like to thank you for this presentation and answering the questions. Yeah, and wish you a nice day. So I would like to say goodbye to all and thank you for your time.